Yo, what's up? It's DNA for short, aka Rod Kamakama, and I got this request from a viewer. I already did this video before about the government, but I'm gonna do it again. Give me 1 second. I'm really okay. So 1 hour. Good, good. All right. This is about the government and the police. And how I feel. First of all, I think it was Thomas Edison, someone who said this. But the government is for stupid people. Basically, if a person is intelligent and of sound mind and body, then they should be able to govern themselves. They should be able to just roam in this world. But something that I really didn't think about is, I always felt that I trust Americans enough because I felt that way too. I've always felt this way. I trust Americans enough to keep everything in check. Have a self-governing system. The government is for the people who need to be protected, who need to be served. Older people, weaker people, the mentally ill, you know? If it wasn't for the government, we wouldn't have all these institutions. There wouldn't be jail. There wouldn't be mental institutions and things like that. So as far as that part of the government, there's the free healthcare, there's doctors, there's colleges. You have all these freedoms that the government has given us. On the other hand, if we were to be more of a street justice. I don't know the the term for it. If it were to be like that more, like, cause I was watching a video, I believe it was in Peru, where this dude raped this little girl. The whole fucking town or the neighborhood went to his house, got his ass out, brought him downstairs, beat his ass, killed him, and set his body on fire. I trust that Americans would be able to do that without anything getting too much out of hand. If 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 I kill somebody's mom, I would expect the neighborhood to come get me or do nothing or fucking move and fucking run. But of course, there's always going to be that group of people. There's always going to be those people who are going to form their own militias. Then there's going to be wars. Then there's going to have to be treaties. Then there's going to have to be something to fund it. Then there's going to have to be work. That the government is our artificial parents. They look over us, all the police, all these institutions, all that shit just breaks down into a family structure. The police is supposed to be your fucking aunties and uncles that really can't tell you, or your older cousins that really can't tell you shit because they're kind of like the same as you. If you have an auntie or an uncle that's the same age as you, then you know what I'm talking about. If you have a cousin that's fucking like your grandma's age or like 20 years older than you, and people call them for some reason when you fuck up, if your mom's not available, maybe that's just me. But the police are just like, they're citizens that took a fucking oath and that learned how to control their fucking body language and facial expressions that tell you to do shit that you really don't have to do. That's all that it is. The government. It's not like I'm a fucking conspiracist. I'm not fucking Huey Freeman from the Boondocks. I'm not like a rebel, fucking revolutionary. Shit's not gonna change. People know the structure of this shit. It's just people are too distracted. They're too busy. They're too scared to take off work for a year or to just not be able to do what they do because they work so hard for their invisible fucking money, for the invisible happiness that can be instantly turned off and destroyed. It's like, people, they do what they do they complain if anything goes wrong. But all you have to do is get 1,000 other motherfuckers who can convince 1,000 other motherfuckers to, you know what, just say, fuck it. Let's just get this whole part of America to just tear up some shit and get Americans to stop voting and just not have any of this government bullshit, all these elected officials and fucking the justice system. That's in our fucking power. That's in our abilities. We do this shit. Everybody who always says fuck the police and fucking there's rich ass people who say that shit. There's rich ass people who have fucking judges for best friends and they hate the fucking government, but they love being rich. And if they fucking if they convince the other almost 500 million Americans that we don't need to fucking keep voting, Obama is really not Obama. He's just some fucking guy that lets them take pictures of him, and everybody else who's not being seen is really making decisions. The government, I don't believe in the government. When I get a little bit older and talking about elections and real government, politics and shit like that, I'm gonna be fucking lost. I don't believe in the government. I believe that the government is a fucking not a myth, but it's just not real. Obama's not a real person. Fucking this whole election shit, I never believed in that shit. Ever since I was in 5th grade. You think me my mom was really getting on me about this shit. You need to register to vote. Think about it. You're gonna be able the first time that you vote is gonna be for a black president. I'm like, he's not a fucking African. He's not a descendant of African slaves, so I don't give a fuck. And he's not really a person. He's not really making decisions. He's just making sure not to go outside so people don't realize that he's not a fucking real person in his position. What the fuck? You really think that millions and millions of people got together, voted, it counted, and if that was the case, my 5th grade, I mean not my 5th grade, my middle school teacher told me that voting, and he didn't like warp my mind. I already believed in this. He told me that if voting really mattered, then all the minorities, all the black people would be forced to move to one side of the country. They would be forced to fit themselves in fucking 3 different states. They would be forced to live in fucking Mississippi, Alabama, and fucking somewhere else, he said. I think Georgia. And all the white people and fucking Hispanics, where everybody else would live all out throughout America, and all the niggas would live in the southeast. And we would just be confined to that space if voting was real. And I believe that. I think that the government, the fact that people believe in the government is so sweet and childish and fucking like the naivety that you have to embrace to really think that you're voting and it makes a fucking difference. When you fucking do some shit, when you get some fucking under the table money and you don't pay don't pay taxes, then you're changing your country. When you take a $20 bill and you rip it up till it has no value, then you're really making a difference. When you steal some shit out of store and sell it to somebody for more than it's fucking worth, then you're making a difference. I'm not saying to do that, but you voting is fucking up the country, number one. And number two, it's fucking up your mind and your sense of reality. Like, it's really hilarious that you think that you're really making a difference. Whether it's in a local election or a national election. It's fucking do some shit that's really gonna change the fucking don't donate to fucking Blue Cross and Blue Shield or whatever it is, the Red Cross, What the people who saved Katrina, don't fucking donate to that shit. Get your ass up and go do that shit. Do you know what they do? They fucking take your every donation that you don't fucking invest directly. They take that shit. They buy fucking clothes. They manufacture clothes. They ship those bitches over to third world countries. Put them in a fucking box and sell them to the citizens for fucking $1 to $10, and they don't even know what the fuck is in that box. Every time that you donate your money, that's what happens. Teach people how to fucking read. Teach people the importance of learning how to read, you know? My opinion on the government is, if it wasn't for the government, we wouldn't have all this organization. We wouldn't have